Hey guys, this is Dave Cerberus Burbridge, and I was going to run everybody through a very quick introduction to the master unit list for building a Wolfnet AS350 Army. So, the best and easiest way to build a force for the AS350 is to first start with either what faction or what era you want to start with. So we're going to start with a faction, and in this case, we will go with we'll click the faction button, and it'll bring up all of the available factions for all eras. So as you scroll down, you'll see every single available faction that you want to be in. So what we'll look at is Ill Clan era Clan Wolf. So we're going to take Star League Clan Wolf, and that will bring us up to what eras it's available in. So in this case, it's only available for Ill Clan. So we'll click on the Ill Clan button. And what that brings us up to is a page with several lists of items that you can choose from and see. So for battle mechs, you can see that it has 491 different battle mechs that you can choose from for this faction in this era. Combat vehicles, when you click on it, opens up the new tab and it shows you your 251 options of combat vehicles. And infantry, it gives you 107 options. So the easiest way when you're building a AS350 Army is to click here on the Force, Alpha Strike Builder, right click and open in a new tab. So usually I'll do this in two separate screens. I'm going to see if I can get it to work on the video. So we are going to open up the Force Builder here on the right and the Ill Clan era unit selection here on the left. So for battle mechs, let's say we want to throw a couple of dashers into our list. So we can see the different dasher models that are available. What I normally do is I will right click and open the dasher model in a new tab so that I can see it and I can take a look at what is available. So I can see all the different dasher models. This gives me an idea that I can see from the card that it's a 430 with a 1 armor, 1 structure, and I can see the special tags on it. Obviously in a bigger screen this is going to be a little easier, but if I decide this is the fire moth that I want to use, so I go over to Dasher, I select the D model, which sometimes you have to scroll over a little bit to make it a little easier to work with, but click on the fire moth D, and it adds it over here to the right. And then you can start messing with your skills. In 350, you can choose between skill 2 and skill 7. So obviously when you choose skill 2, it raises your PV up to the highest level for that unit that it's going to be. Skill 7 brings it down to the lowest. Now you have to remember that within AS350 there is the rule of 2. So if I want to bring, let's see what another dasher model is that's available. So we'll go back to the list and we'll see there's a Fire Moth A that you can use. So I'll select the Fire Moth A and add it to my list. This would be the most Fire Moths that I can have in my list. That satisfies the rule of 2. You can have 2 of the same chassis, but they have to be different variants in the battle mechs. If it's a vehicle, they can be the exact same. Infantry can be the exact same, and VTOLs can be the exact same. The battle mechs are the only ones that require you to have a different variant. So you cannot have 2 Dasher Ds, you cannot have 2 Dasher As. You have to have a Dasher X, a Dasher Y. And then you get to mess with your skills as you see fit. In this case, let's say we're going to take both of them at skill 4. 30 PV for the Dasher D, 20 PV for the Dasher A. We'll look over here and we'll go to the combat vehicles next. So let's say we want to search for a 35 PV combat vehicle. So to do that, the easiest way is to click PV, and that's going to organize it from lowest to highest. All of your 0 PV units that don't actually have any information in MUL that you can use are going to be here at the top. And then it starts organizing everything by PV level. So if we're going to go with 35 PV, we'll scroll down to where we get to 35 PV, and you can see we can choose Balak Strike, VTOL, Hawk Moths, Jousts, Scaffas, Bandits, and that the Scaffa H starts us into the 36 PV. So we'll take a look at the Scaffa J. So this is one of my favorites, so it's an easy one to go to. Scaffa J is a hovercraft that has ECM, energy. It's an Omni hovercraft. It has reflective armor, searchlight, and a turret 2-2, and jump weak because for some weird reason this is a hovercraft that can jump. And if that's the one that I choose that I want to put into my list, we'll go again just like the battle mechs. Type in Scaffa, brings up the list of Scaffas, Scaffa J, Scaffa J. Now this is the example that we just talked about where it is a combat vehicle, so you can use two of the same combat vehicle that are the same model. And then of course you can adjust your PVs again. Now after you've gotten down to your 350 list, and you've fleshed it out the way you wanted to, you've added your infantry, you've added your battle mechs, you go over here and you hit print PDF. Now when you hit print PDF, this is going to bring up the new PDF of what you just created. So I'll open that up. Your first page is going to be the list of the units that you added onto your force creation, their skill, their PV, and their tonnage. Now for what we're doing, tonnage doesn't matter, because in Alpha Strike, nobody really cares about tonnage, they care about PV. So then on pages 2 through however many you have, you see the Alpha Strike cards. So in this case, we have the two dashers, you have the Dasher D, the Dasher A, and the two Scaffa Js. Standard Alpha Strike cards. When you're playing the game, I find a really easy way to organize your table is to print out several copies of this sheet. And what you do is you take one of your spare copies and you cut all of these cards out and you put them into card sleeves, and then use one of your Alpha Strike cards to put behind it, because normal paper is just really flimsy and the Alpha Strike card gives it a little bit of stiffness so that you can write on it with a dry erase marker during the day. And that is the down and dirty how to use the MUL to build a Alpha Strike list. So let's look at it, go back and look at it from the era standpoint. So let's say you've decided like you want to build more of a lore fluff list, and you want to pick a specific era that you want to play in. So you want to play in the Jihad era. So you select Jihad, shows you all the factions that are available in Jihad. So in this case, like you have Clan Wolf and you have Clan Wolf Exile on the clan side. Periphery, you get the Scorpion Imperio, you have the Frank Reaches, you have the Outworlds Alliance, Pirates, and Taurian Concordat. Now, one thing I do want to point out is you see these Periphery General, IS Clan General, Inner Sphere General. When you select one of these factions, we'll pick the Draconis Combine, it is going to show you everything that is in the Draconis Combine Jihad era, including the Inner Sphere General list. So you don't have to look at the General list and the Draconis Combine list. If there is a General list available, it will show up when you select the faction or the era that you want. Now, there are a few units that do not have access to a general list. Those are the mercenary factions, the Kellhounds, the Wolf Dragoons, and then the general mercenary list, general mercenary faction, which is a kind of catch-all. Everyone else, except for your homeworld clans, actually your homeworld clans do have the homeworld clan general list that they can select from. So that is how you will build your list. And the important thing to remember is in Total Warfare, there is a much more, and even in general Alpha Strike, salvage is a thing. However, in the Wolfnet AS350 rules, salvage is not a thing. So if it is not available on your list here in, say, Clan Wolf, then you can't put it in your list for an AS350 tournament. But that's it. I hope this helps everybody, and I hope this gives you a starting point on how to use the MUL to build your lists. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us. We will be happy to help you through this. This is Dave Cerberus signing off for the Colorado Battletech server.